Okay. Hello.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm just at the studio right now.
Sweet. Oh, which studio is that?
Sweet.
Or
Uh,
is it just.
it's called Risque Disc.
Wow.
It's up in Cedar.
In
Yeah.
Cedar. Where's that? I don't even know where that is.
Sorry, where are you from?
Hi. I'm from. I'm in Ontario.
Okay.
I'm in Hamilton.
Oh,
Basically,
cool.
like Toronto. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're on the other side of Canada.
So I'm living in Vancouver right now, but I'm on Vancouver Island, up Island. It's like a couple hour drive from Victoria at a studio. So I'm just mastering my album right now.
Sweet, sweet. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Yeah. That's exciting.
I'm stoked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
really
a
excited.
I have a whole list of questions for you coming up, but yeah, I don't know, like
Cool.
I couldn't really sum up who you even are in like a couple sentences. So like, yeah, who are you? Like it would be nice to know
Ooh.
more about you.
Okay. In a couple sentences or
Sure.
just kind of rant?
Yeah, just go off.
Okay. Um, I suppose I'm a multi-instrumentalist. That's from Victoria, BC. I just moved to Vancouver recently. Um, I've been in a bunch of bands throughout my kind of music career. Currently in a band called Cartoon Lizard,
Mm.
and I do some writing and performing with a lady by the name of Haley Blay, and I also play drums for Diamond Cafe. So this is my first venture off into like solo territory.
Mhm.
I've been doing the band thing for a while, and yeah, so I've been making music since like grade six, kind of. That's when I was got into music, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a rock star or something,
Mhm. Mhm.
something stupid like that.
Well, like, did you ever do anything solo before the band stuff? That maybe like pre-professional musician life. I don't know.
Yeah, I always tried to write songs. They were pretty awful at first, as anybody who starts writing songs is, but um, yeah, like middle school, I was I was going through like a White Stripes phase or like a Led Zeppelin phase or something, and I'll just kind of completely just like emulate them and make terrible, awful rip-offs of these bands.
Perfect.
But it's just, practicing songwriting is good. I don't regret it or
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah, no, making terrible songs is sometimes like the like best part of your archive in the end, you know. So,
I don't
yeah.
know about
Do you
that.
do
Yeah,
you have
cringe at them there. It's so bad.
you think? Yeah. Do you still have copies of those songs?
Yeah, um I have some recordings that I must have recorded in like grade nine, or I
Mhm.
think I have some recordings from middle school. And like some of them are pretty good
Mhm.
for being a middle school grade nine
Considering.
recording, but
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, like it's pretty cringy. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah. Sometimes I just think about how like Slow Dive with was in high school when they were making their best stuff, and it's like how did you have like the brain function for that? But
That's
yeah,
nuts. Yeah,
yeah,
I have no idea.
yeah, it's wild. Okay, I have a
Very
couple questions I want to jump into, and
sure.
I think yeah, the first couple regard Seas of Noise, which is a really
Hmm.
nice tune.
Thank you.
Yeah. I wrote, I like the pace of Seas of Noise. It's very atmospheric. It gives space for your own thoughts to come through as you listen. Was that an intention you had? Any thoughts on that kind of like the atmosphere? Yeah.
Um, well, kind of the formation of this solo project. I mean, it kind of started um during the quarantine. Just started listening to a lot of ambient music.
Mm.
Like I always had an appreciation for it, but I never really fully dived in. So I started listening to like, yeah, just ambient music like Brian Eno, and started getting into more experimental stuff like One of Tricks Point Never. And then I've always loved the Spirited Away soundtrack,
Mm.
which is very piano based. And Breath of the Wild was like a thing that was came out recently, and I love the kind of just ambient piano music in that, and I was like, yeah, I just want nice background music to like make breakfast to in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
just like sit around to in the living room. So I started making playlists. And I was like, oh, I want more of this. And I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
should just make some of this.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
man, yeah.
yeah, it was kind of, I made these songs with the intention of being able to put them on in the background. Not necessarily that you can't appreciate them focusing on them,
Mm-hmm.
but just kind of, yeah, leaving room for your own thoughts. I find like as I get older with lyrics and stuff, it's really hard to have something to say because
Mm-hmm.
the big topics are so complex and nuanced. I'm like, I'd rather just make an emotion through a song that's interpretive and could be used in different ways than say
Mm-hmm.
like this is a song about love or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you were like writing it, did that same kind of like background noise thing come to play? Like, or because I think about ambient music and it's like, were they paying
Mhm.
attention when they were writing this? Because I'm not paying much attention when I'm listening to it, you know?
Um, sorry, what was the question again?
like, like I don't know. Like, what's the contrast in the experience of like writing a song like "Seas of Noise" and the
Oh,
experience of like listening to it?
I mean, Season Noise was actually the only song on this upcoming album that I had written prior to the idea of this album.
Mm.
It was something that initially had lyrics, um, and I had a demo of it that was like quite different in arrangement and me singing on it. I was always really nervous to record it because I'm like, oh, I really love this song, and the lyrics are like some of the best lyrics I've written, but if I just don't have a lot of confidence with my voice, so I was like, I don't want this song to be brought down to the level of my vocal performance. I wanted to,
Mm.
which I think would kind of bring it down in a way, unless I just really slaved over the vocals. So yeah, when I had the idea of making the piano album, I kind of repurposed it. I'm like, I'm just not gonna sing the vocals. I'll just have it. Um, but the recording was like, it sounds kind of, I guess you could say random in terms of like where spaces are and things, but that was so intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would go through and edit the length of the spaces. Like when I initially recorded the song, because it's not to a BPM or anything, I had to do it all by feel. And then I would intentionally leave spaces longer than I thought were necessary. So I had the option of like to be like the perfect pause. The pauses are like
Mm-hmm.
so thought out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As like a musician, is it sometimes hard to like subtract and like leave those moments of pause? Or yeah, what's it like subtracting when you're making music? Like leaving.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
this whole album's been really hard to restrain. I always want to just add more and more and more. So it's been a
Mm-hmm.
good challenge to leave it
Yeah.
with space
Yeah. Just let it be. Yeah.
and not just.
Um.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you ever have like a narrative in mind when you're composing? Like with Seas of Noise, even just the name suggests like, is it is the song personifying seas, or is it its own sea itself of noise, or is that something that is decided, or do you get to make it up, or yeah, I don't
Um,
know. Is there a narrative that
I
you?
I kind of I know exactly what you're asking. I kind of with this music was like purposefully not thinking of a narrative of like this is like kind of the emotion of love or something, or this is the
Mm-hmm.
emotion of this. I kind of just went by like this just feels emotive, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I never really thought about it or contrived it too much. Um, and with Season Noise, like that song, the lyrics initially when I wrote it, one of the lyrics was like, "Why should I spill my voice into an endless sea of noise?"
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of fitting that I took the lyrics
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm. That's where they have their
um,
place. Yeah.
um, so it's not that the song is represents the sea of noise at all. I guess I just really liked the title,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it had cool context with the album kind of being like quite calm and not noisy and soft,
Mm-hmm.
like a juxtaposition kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sweet,
Yeah,
sweet. Um, yeah. Looking at
I'm
my
gonna wrap this
questions.
blanket around me. It's
Oh yeah,
trying to
do
fight.
that. Do that. Sweet. Um, yeah, it was. I just right before this, I saw your playlist Inspiration Station, which has some very
Nice.
good songs on it.
Thank you.
And
Which ones
yeah,
did you like?
sorry.
Which ones do you like?
Ooh, which one was it again? Well, you've got Green by Hiroshi on there, and
Yeah,
that one
that's
stood
good.
out. I love that one. And like, I think it's a lot of stuff that's similar to like what I listen to when I'm like coding HTML or something. Just that, yeah, that background stuff. It's so good.
Cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I was wondering, yeah, like, does any one of them stand out? Like, were there different moments where different ones stood out in your process, or like, do you have a favorite, or are they all kind of like dependent on each other?
Um, there's yeah, some stand out in different ways for sure. I mean, they're all relatively within the same like feel of being calming, but there's definitely some that are more upbeat that are quite different from the majority of the
Mm-hmm.
album. There's some that are like very ambient in relation to the the majority of them. Like Season Noise is one of the more ambient ones on the album, I would say, but there is like a very similarly arranged song that I find a counterpoint to Season Noise, which is actually the last track, Season Noise being the first one. That is just like 9 minutes of kind of like just harpy piano stuff. I don't know.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Yeah, that's another one of my questions is like, what instruments are we hearing exactly at certain points? Because, like, especially when the strings would come in, I was like, what kind of string is happening right now? And
Right.
yeah, what was happening?
Um, um, it's pretty simple arrangement. Like it's just piano. Like you're talking for the song specifically, right?
Yeah, for
Season
Seas of
Noise.
Noise, yeah.
Right. There's piano, um, cello. Like when it
Right.
comes in, you hear these kind of like plunking. It almost sounds like a stand-up bass. It's actually a cello.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, there's cello, kind of like low open note strums. That's any strings you hear is a cello that I
Sweet.
borrowed from my friend Ryan. And
Nice.
then there's a trumpet doing all the horn stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a harp. I rented a harp.
Sweet.
I just went ham on it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Um, there's a synth, like kind of like a synth sub bass. It's not too subby, but that is you can't really distinguish it from the piano too much. It's a little more subtle,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's it.
Sweet,
So it's
sweet.
there's only like 5 instruments on it.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a lot more dense on other songs in the album, but I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Had you ever played harp before, or was that like new? Were there any new instruments?
No, I hadn't, but it's funny because um, people seem pretty impressed by the harp stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, like you're just like ripping that harp. And I just tuned it so I literally couldn't hit a bad note. I was just going like
Yeah.
with my fingers. Like I have no ability to form like chords and be like, oh, I'm gonna do this chord and then this chord and this chord. I'm just like strumming it
Mm-hmm. That's great.
a
I think
bunch.
that kind of goes with the ambience of it. It's just like just as relaxed as like the song. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was so fun recording it because I just didn't have to stress it. I was just kind of like strumming
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Yeah, that's so cool. Nice. Um, yeah, thinking about the album, what does this upcoming album mean to you? How much can you say right now?
Um, I mean, it means a lot to me. I really love it. This project has been like the first time I felt confident with like my solo stuff. I think that probably stems from me having an insecurity with my singing voice for sure. So I didn't have to just bypass that completely. I was like, I don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel really confident with the songs. I'm like, yeah, I would actually listen to this all the time, and I love it, which is kind of like a very new thing to me when it comes to my personal songwriting. That like the songs that I've put out with bands and things, are collaborative efforts, and I've loved them too. But like stuff that is just solely dependent on my efforts. This is the first time I've come to a place where I feel really confident with it,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think that answered your question. I kind
Yeah.
of forgot
I
what it
kind
was
of
as I
forget
was
what I
talking.
asked too. Oh, what's the album mean to you? Yeah.
Right. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And then so the album is just I don't know. I think it's just a collection of a lot of songs that relax me
Mm-hmm.
and kind of are emotive,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Whatever it is to whoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And thinking about the voice thing too. Just I make a couple songs sometimes. Like once a
Hmm.
year, I'll make a song. And yeah, listening back, it's just as the person who made it is so hard to listen past your voice after a while. So yeah, it's
I
nice that you
know.
can
It's
just have the music. Yeah.
at least we can be consolidated in the fact that a lot of people share that
Mm-hmm.
insecurity with their voice. It's pretty common.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the music you work on is very chill, which I love. And I feel like the process of making chill music can feel hardcore sometimes. Any thoughts on that? Maybe
The
there's
process.
extreme moments.
Okay. I mean, I think the process of making any music can really have like a lot of struggles
Mm-hmm.
because you want it to be good,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for it to be bad.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's very subjective, but um, yeah, it was tough. It was really hard because I had to make a decision of like I want this to be relaxing, but I don't want it to be boring or generic
Mm-hmm.
because I could just go by a piano and like plunk away anything and just it'd sound nice and be relaxing, but like so many people can do that and do where it's just like or but I
Whoa.
mean it's just
A hit.
anybody can kind of just do that, so I had to really find ways to make it interesting but not overwork it and just
Mm-hmm.
add too many things, and it was just a balance. It's like a philosophical battle I was having
For sure, for
during
sure.
the
Yeah.
creation of it.
I
I
feel like
landed somewhere in the middle of ambient and non-ambient.
I
It's
see.
not really ambient, but
It's inspired by heavily.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I feel like the harp, like the strings really brought that element there. Yeah. Cuz yeah, the piano, sometimes piano is so like inherently melodic. It's hard to like make it sound happy. Yeah. Um I think the kind of music a person makes says a lot about how they want other people to feel. Is this true for you? Why? Do you have like any hopes for how your music would make another person feel?
for sure. I kind of just hope it makes people feel the way I feel when I listen to it, which I mean it varies from song to song, but it's hard off the top of my head to think of like this song makes me feel like a specific way.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's introspective, whatever that means, but that
Mm-hmm.
you could be thinking about anything when you're introspective.
Yeah.
So I guess I really want people to feel relaxed and kind
Mm-hmm.
of like introspective. It's a word that pops up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, like to me, I think the ideal way to listen to a song like Season Noise and the album in general is like in a like comfy chair, pitch black room at night with
Mm.
some like nice speakers, maybe a candle, maybe. But I
Mm.
really just like the pitch black thing. Really makes you like listen to all the intricacies, and
Mm-hmm.
so hopefully
Have you
people
ever
take that.
been in a float tank? In the float tank
Yeah,
thing? Yeah. I feel
I
like it's
have.
float tank music too.
I guess that kind of takes away from like the purpose of a float tank because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like sensory deprivation, and then you
Well,
just be getting like. I
we
guess
can
you could.
have one sense as a treat. When
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be that would be the most amazing
Mm-hmm.
way to listen to this music. It
Mm.
it would be sick.
Yeah. It's too bad it's like not just wouldn't really work to have like a float concert where like
Yeah, that would
everyone's
be
floating.
awesome.
That'd be kind of gross, really, but like in theory, it'd be really cool and good.
That'd be sweet. I
Yeah.
I I try to think of things like that because I think maybe like a future form of music would be
Mm-hmm.
more all encompassing in terms of senses. Like I'd love
Yeah.
to build a machine where it's like I program like, oh, you're gonna get cold during this part of the song. Maybe that's not
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so
a
good.
rose or something or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Why just one sense? Yeah. There's so many senses to
Just start
add to that.
vibrating,
Yeah.
shaking violently during the
Yeah.
chorus.
Mm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's something to think about. Like dancing on your own, but then the music makes you. Yeah, I don't know. Lots to think about. Do you do any programming? You mentioned programming very briefly.
Um, no, I mean, no,
No.
I don't.
Good
I
to
was
know.
trying to think, I'm like, do I program anything? Program
Music?
some music,
Yeah.
I guess.
That works, yeah. Yeah, another question I have is what is your earliest memory of music production in your lifetime?
um, hmm, earliest memory of music production. It would be, I guess, going to my friend Peter's house. So in elementary school, he was this person that was a year older than me, and anybody that is a year older than you is just
Mm,
instantly cooler than you.
yeah.
And his dad had a studio with a drum set, and he played the drums. I was like, oh my god! I just forced him to be my friend, and I went and like saw his studio and played the drums. And eventually, me, him, and my other good friend Michael made a band, and we would go and jam and just like record songs on like a little like 4 track like Zoom um, H4n or something,
Mm-hmm.
and we just like make demos and jam. So that was like the first experience of that, was just recording like really blown out, distorting 4 tracks on like this portable like
Mm-hmm.
podcast almost thing.
Yeah, I have the H4n too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. It's a handy one. It's good. But yeah,
yeah.
that
I think it
sounds
literally
neat.
says like the handy recorder on it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a good start though. Sounds like a really nice start. Starting off with a band. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, being able to be in a studio when you're in elementary school.
Yeah.
I mean,
Whoa.
there's a home studio. It wasn't like a commercial studio, but
Mm-hmm. I mean, as a
yeah.
kid, it was probably extra.
So,
Just felt really cool.
so cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Question I have is, what software do you use when you record? What was your technology for this new album you're working on?
Um, I I do like when I'm writing the songs and they're not finished in terms of like the actual notes themselves. I work in Logic because I find that the MIDI is just so easy to just like draw stuff in, make changes. Nothing's precious. It's just like really intuitive to work with MIDI, I find. And then um, once everything's like, okay, I know exactly what I want to record. I mean, for the most part, there's always room. But I go to Pro Tools because I find the editing's really good there. And I'm just used to it. That's just what I'm used to. So those two things.
Sweet.
Um, yeah.
Sweet. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Peeking at my questions list.
Yeah. Take your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Often when I'm making something, I have a memory attached to it by the time it's over, like something that was going on at the same time as making the thing. Was there
Right.
anything happening in sync with the writing of Seas of Noise, or even just with the album you're working on, that now kind of
Um,
tie together? Yeah.
well, I guess, well, Season Noise is like the one song that's kind of removed by like 3 or 4 years from the writing
Mm.
of the rest of the songs.
Cool.
I wrote that like years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the songs were all written like I had just gotten a piano at the place I was staying at. And the pandemic had just started. So I wasn't working. I just got a piano. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm just going to write songs all the time. So I was fortunate to have something I was really invested in and loved to do during the pandemic. Which I feel lucky for. Um, yeah, so I guess I think of the pandemic when I think of the process,
Mm-hmm.
because they were all written like on this one piano during the pandemic, stay at home stuff.
Yeah.
The beginning of it.
Right. How was that stage for you? Yeah.
I feel guilty that it was good.
Yeah.
I was just felt fortunate
Mm-hmm.
that yeah, um, I just could work on music,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, Vancouver Island wasn't really like it's not a epicenter for that thing because it's the
Mm-hmm.
population is so small and it's on an island.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody we all took it super seriously, but there was like no cases on the island for a while, and we
Mm-hmm.
were still all staying in our houses and yeah, which I was content to do. I was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to sit down and work on music anyway. Now I don't have to go work like this job that I don't really like.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah, definitely. I think the pandemic gave a lot of people like the privilege of like creative breathing room. Yeah. So that's nice.
hmm
Um hmm.
This is like also sidetrack. This is very bizarre that I'm being asked questions and that anybody would care to ask me questions. It's great. Thank you.
I love asking questions. Yeah. I had a similar feeling yesterday. Like uh some people like expressed interest in like editing with Volvox, and so I had to go through them asking me questions. I was like, oh, I guess this is real. And people are asking me
Yeah,
about it. Okay.
yeah.
I don't know how
It's
to answer.
this is my first interview
Woohoo! Wow.
for
You're
my solo
on
thing. At least.
straight track to fame. You'll be at the Met Gala next year now that you have this under your belt, probably.
I
Yeah.
better be.
Mm-hmm. Um, uh, I have a couple questions about daydreaming. I
Okay.
might ask you a little differently. I don't know. I wrote, what do you daydream of when listening to Seas of Noise? But then also, I
Mm.
guess, ambient music in general as well. Like, do you ever daydream when you're listening to that kind of music? And what's
Yeah,
that
I mean,
like?
I think I just daydream all the time, so
Mm.
it's kind of almost like doesn't matter if there's music on. I'm kind
Mm-hmm.
of just, like thinking about something. Um,
Sometimes it's hard to
seasons.
remember.
There's no specific thing. It's just kind of where you're at. That's what I like about it. It's just whatever's on your mind at the time. It's kind of nice to just think about that.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
song isn't like making you think about a certain thing, or if it
Mm-hmm.
is, that's just because you kind of want to think about it. And it's reminding you of that, but it's not
Yeah.
like this song's gonna make everybody think about this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It kind of feels like taking a deep breath too. Like you can think about things without the anxiety. I think it helps a little bit with anxiety even. Just like slows things down in a way
That'd
that
be
you can
cool.
hear. Yeah. I think with the
I would
slow
love that.
pace. Yeah.
People thought had that effect. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for sure. It definitely calms me out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, mhm.
Yeah. Um. Uh. Yes. I like the footsteps. It feels like I'm sort of there where the music is being played. Is that something you tried to do, or did it just happen?
Not intentional at all.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of funny actually. Uh, when I was recording it, I was recording it in this room actually.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
We we brought the piano out a bit because um, it just sounds better
Acoustics.
when it's not right up against the wall, just with engineering, technical, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like a nighttime kind of by myself and my friend Shiloh, who runs the studio Risque Disc. Um, he was just kind of walking around the stairs upstairs and doing his thing. He's always on a call, so he likes to walk and talk as he does things. And he just happened to kind of stomp around during a pause, which is so great though because like when I listen to it, it just sounds because I'm so familiar with the space. This space, I've been here a lot. It just sounds so much like there's somebody above me walking,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. And I think back to that exact time for
Mm.
me. It's kind of like a personal thing, I guess, but like
Sweet.
I have a direct visual association with that and
Mm-hmm.
a person and experience. It's cool. I really like it. I mean, if the whole song you could just hear nonstop people talking and
Mm.
being noisy in the background, it'd be kind of annoying. But it's just like this nice little detail that just crept in there.
Yeah, I like
You
it.
know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in my head, it was like someone walking up to the piano and then leaving. But yeah, I like the ambient, like I think it's another thing that adds to those senses, like the whole floating thing. Just when there's different stuff other than the song going on, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, one of the things I really want to do with this music is make it as intimate as possible and like play things as quietly as I could. And
Mm-hmm.
then when that happens, you can hear like the bench creaks and you can hear people walking, and it creates more of a sense. It just feels kind of more real
Mm-hmm,
almost,
mm-hmm, definitely.
like you're in a room listening to somebody play the piano.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Yeah,
nice, especially with COVID times. It's like any sort of resemblance of a concert experience, I'll take that. Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the last question I wrote um, is there anything to explain about the last piano notes in Sea of Seas of Noise? It was like it almost sounded off tune, but then it also sounded really intentional. Like, cause the fact that you play that last note 3 times, I feel like if you only played it once, I'd almost be confused. But like by the time the third one was played, I was like, that note makes sense. I don't know. It really
Um,
was fun to think about that note.
that's you have a good ear to notice that it's like a semitone off from
Mm-hmm.
what it kind of should be in that scale. That's just very much a limitation of the piano because I'm just doing like octaves going dun, dun, dun,
Mm-hmm.
dun, 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 dun. And then the final octave of it, the last note, it was one note too short, but I thought it was cool. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do it, and I don't know, I didn't really in terms of going like dun, 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 like hitting the note 3 times. I don't know why I did that. It just felt right. I didn't really um, contextualize it or like come up with a reason. I was just like, yeah, that seems cool.
Yeah. It sounded
Um,
right.
it just went by feeling and intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of intuition and seas of noise. That's nice. Yeah. Cool. That's good to know. Because I thought about that a lot. Yeah. It's a good
This
note.
guy's hit a bum note,
Yeah.
messing up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's all the questions I wrote down. Do you have any
Cool.
other thoughts that maybe you'd want to share about the album? Like, when is it coming out, or do you even
Um,
know
I don't
yet?
I don't have a release date yet. So I'm mastering it this weekend, so that
Mm-hmm.
it's being completed this weekend, which is very surreal and hasn't really like um, solidified in my head yet. But I want to kind of get it out as soon as possible. Like I have a single. I'm gonna release one more single that's kind of like more a bit more upbeat,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the ones that sticks out, kind of as we mentioned before. And then after that, I guess I gotta figure out. if I'm gonna like do any promotion stuff with it, what that's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that gets in the way of me releasing it immediately is wanting to formulate some sort of promotion plan because I do want people to hear it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I don't know. I don't have a date, but it's
Keep
not
me
gonna be like
posted. Yeah,
next year. It's
pretty
it's gonna
soon.
be as soon as I can that I can that makes sense because
Mm-hmm.
I just want
Yeah, I actually do have one more question too. Thinking about how like all the other stuff that you have on Spotify is like in a band and stuff, collaborative stuff. Yeah, how is like collaborating for you? Like other than the insecurity with your voice,
Mhm.
like yeah, I don't know. Was collab thoughts on collaboration versus solo?
I love collaboration. Um, like that is something that I really love, and it was actually kind of hard doing this solo thing because the hardest part of finishing a song is when like a song's 90% done and you just need to finish the final touches, and that's always great when you can be like, okay, you four other people, you can do that. I did the rest of it. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do that. And I did want to collaborate on this album. I wasn't against it at all. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
was really nice. Like Ben, who did all the trumpets on the album, I didn't write any trumpet parts except for this one set of chords on the last song. All the trumpet that you hear on Season Noise was like completely just him ad libbing, and then me kind of just cherry picking moments that I liked and kind of that made sense to me. So he would just each take would be different. Him kind of trying things, and I kind of direct him in a way. So that was fully collaborative. And what else? Who else did I collaborate with on this album? I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that actually played an instrument, but I don't think so. But I mean, all the people in Cartoon Lizard, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, if you want to write something for any of these songs, like, go ahead. Just nobody did.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I'll have to check my messages later, but I also he did get some parts down. So this was like the cutoff for this person to give me some ideas for like a couple of parts of some songs because I'm mixing things right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that he sent me something, so
Ooh,
we'll see. So
interesting.
maybe it'll make it on, maybe it won't. I'll have to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Super
But
sweet.
yeah, I reached out to a few people being like, yeah, I'd love for you to just try some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of them being this fellow named Zach that's I play with in Diamond Cafe. This really nice person um, by the name of Miguel. Although it didn't work out with the timing, they're really great. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
reached out to a few people.
Yeah, that's all you
It
can
just
do. Reach out and see what happens. Yeah.
I was like, no stress either way. If you want to do something, it's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Nice. Yeah, it's nice to like let people into the fate of the music you're making a little bit. That's cool. Yeah. Um,
hmm
yeah. And one other thing I'll say is that big fan of Haley Blaze is vlogs. Like her
yeah,
videos.
right on.
Yeah. She's good at that.
She's
Yeah.
she's so funny.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been lucky to have been working with her for since the Let Yourself Go EP.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Sweet.
she's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
She's that's not an act. She's like that in person. She's just
Sweet.
fun,
Mm-hmm.
funny.
Nice. Nice. And how long have you been going by your friend Brennan? Is that like a new alias or is it?
It actually was my Instagram handle
Yeah.
for like 3 years, and then when I was trying to think of what I wanted to go by, because I don't really like my natural full name,
Mm.
I was like, oh, it's kind of boring. It's kind of clunky. And then I was thinking about maybe I'll just do the something cool like One Out Tricks Point Never, which I
Mm-hmm.
can never make as cool a name as that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go that name. Um, and I just couldn't think of anything. Nothing was popping out, and I also had the fear that I wouldn't anything that I did decide on I wouldn't like in like a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought I will go with your friend Brennan. I think it's kind of endearing. I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of elitism that is
Mhm.
associated with this type of music. I don't like the idea of of portraying myself as this posh, like elitist. I'm so like smart and elegant kind of person. So I thought the name kind of was a nice way to kind of cut through that a bit.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I
there
think it's
was
a very
so,
welcoming name. It's good.
yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot, all those reasons I guess
Mhm.
make me be like, yeah, let's go do it from Brenna. But I've liked this Instagram handle for a few years, so it
Mhm.
still has my name. It's not like fully a made up fiction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's classic. Timeless. Yeah.
thanks. I hope so. I
Mhm.
hope they don't hate
Yeah,
it
we'll
anymore.
see. We'll see. Mhm. Mhm. But yeah, that's all my questions and stuff. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
you're
And
welcome. Thanks
yeah.
for asking questions. It's
Mhm.
nice to get a chance to talk about this stuff
Yeah.
because you know people don't usually ask me these questions, and
Mhm.
I have answers for
Yeah.
them.
It's nice to reflect on it. Yeah. But
Mm.
yeah, any final notes or anything? Don't know. Probably not.
No, I think we covered a lot of
We
good
did.
ground.
We covered a lot of ground.
It's been fun
Mhm.
talking about it. Yeah,
Yeah. Sweet.
thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything fun tonight?
I'm finishing mixes. That's
Right.
this whole
Mixing.
weekend is just finishing the
Nice.
album. That's all I'm
Sweet.
doing. So that's fun.
Yeah.
And then um yeah, that's it.
Mhm. Yeah. Are you doing music full time right now, or is it like the weekend because that's when you have time, or is it? You know.
um the weekend because that's how much time we needed.
Mm.
I am paying for the time going in the studio and
Right.
paying for efforts of even though they're my friends and I'm getting like a great deal, I'm still have to be conscious of time. I can't just be like, hey,
Mhm.
we all do that. It's like let's all just hang out for a week and can't really do that.
Mhm.
I definitely don't do music full time. I'd love to, but
Mhm.
it's not like a reality
Yeah, it's
that I
hard.
can do right now. But I'm fortunate to have a nice job where I can kind of choose the hours I work and my
Mm.
own schedules and can do both.
Awesome. Yeah, finding the balance is really nice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm in a good balance place right now.
Sweet. Sweet. Yeah. Well, thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll see you around.
I'll see you around. I'll see you
Yeah.
on Instagram,
Yeah. On the internet.
on the web.
Mhm. Have a
Okay.
good night. Bye.
See ya. You too.